Good morning, family. You know, the prodigal son, if he came home to realize that his father was no longer alive when he finally came to his senses, he would have had an issue with his brother because his brother was not happy. If you remember the story of the prodigal son, his brother was not happy that he came back home and was being celebrated. So if he came home and only found his brother there, two things might have happened. One, he would have either went back to feed the pigs, or two, might have begged his brother to be his servant. Because remember, when he left, he said, I can be a servant in my father's house. Why am I saying this? There's a lesson to be learned here. Do not come to your senses about going back to your home or to make amends with your family, whether it's your parents or whoever, only to discover that they're no longer around. Or rather, you get a call from a relative informing you that your parents are no longer around before you come to your senses. Because some people come to their senses when they realize that their parents are no longer around. Family, life will teach you that there's going to be moments where no one will be able to assist you with anything apart from your family. Life will teach you that the very parents that you consider toxic and whatever it is that you label them, it'll teach you that those people have your back when it matters the most. I know we come from different backgrounds. I know we have different situations. I know I don't understand your situation. I'm not saying this applies to everybody, but I'm referring to those who have had relationships with their parents and then discovered that they have a lot of flaws and decided to rub them off or whatever, cancel them or whatever, and just block them everywhere. What I'm saying to you is, in hindsight, you will realize that those people, yes, they were flawed just like everybody else, but they were not as bad as you think. And if they are as bad as you think or as you say, remember this. The disciples once asked Jesus that, hey, what you've just said right now is a very, very hard thing. Can this be done? And he said, what is impossible with man is possible with God. If you come to your senses, or even if you don't come to your senses, or perhaps this video is a sign to assist you to come to your senses, when that happens and your family members are still around, pray, fast if you have to. Like, dedicate a week to fasting and prayer, but if you're on chronic medication, then just pray, because we don't want you to be going through some stuff. But what I'm trying to say is, make sure that you dedicate that week to this matter. And when you go back home and you talk to your parents and explain to them what happened, even if things don't go your way, the meeting does not go your way because people are being defensive, people are shouting and all of that, I just want to make it clear that, look, at the end of the day, rely on God to solve that problem. God once asked Sarah this question when Sarah was eavesdropping the conversation between Abraham and God. And Sarah said in her heart that it is impossible for God to give me a child at my age. And God said, why are you saying that it's impossible for me to give you a child? Is there anything too hard for me? Is there anything too hard for the Lord? That's my question to you. Is there anything too hard for the Lord? The Lord which made the heavens and the earth, who made me and you, who made the trees and the plant and animals, creepy crawlers, birds of the air, sea creatures, the ocean, sand, air, everything that you see that is not man-made. God made it. So, if God is able to do that, what makes you think that he won't be able to solve your problem? If God could use Moses, who stuttered and was even afraid to go back to Egypt because he had killed someone before, was able to go back to Egypt and was able to take out the Israelites out of Egypt, what makes you think your issue, that is not as big as the Israelites going out of Egypt under the rulership of a Pharaoh that was strict and harsh, what makes you think that your issue with your parents or your relatives is impossible for God to fix? There's a lesson that we can learn from the prodigal son, and is that when you come to your senses, just make sure that the people that you want to apologize to, that you want, when you find a moment to repent from your ways, just make sure that the people are there, because life is very short and unpredictable. There are a lot of people who passed on and we didn't know. We were just shocked. Some years, sure, they're old, they're sick. It's obvious that, okay, they might meet their demise anytime soon. But there are those people, healthy, fine, nothing was going on. They're young. They were having a great career, having a great job, and then jiggy jiggy gone. So nobody knows the day or the hour except for God himself. And I'm not saying this so that I can manipulate you to doing something you don't want to do. If you have troubles going back, if you have a serious problem doing that, then ask God to change your heart. Because he says that we should honor our mother and father. He says we should do it. I'm not saying we should do it. He says we should do it. He says we should do it. So there is wisdom in God telling us to honor our parents. There's wisdom. And he's the wisest entity to ever exist. So are we wiser than God to think that we shouldn't honor our parents? Should we not take his advice? The person who created us, should we not take his advice? Let me know in the comments. Cheers.